Following on from last week's discussion on predictions that can be made with Kane's law, I began to wonder, what does this mean for innovation and also organizational change? What are the likely implications? Here are my thoughts on the matter. One, structural reform is key to sustainable change. Any efforts to change an organization's culture, processes, or systems without addressing the underlying structure will be superficial and short lived. Traditional change initiatives often focus on changing behaviors or mindsets, but according to Kane's law, these changes are unlikely to stick unless the power and decision making structures within the organization are also reformed. Example: if a company is trying to implement agile methodologies but maintains a rigid, hierarchical structure where all decisions are made at the top, teams will struggle to self organize or innovate. Real change requires flattening hierarchies and redistributing decision making authority to empower teams. 2. Power dynamics must be acknowledged. Organizational change efforts often fail because they don't fully account for how entrenched power dynamics will resist reform. According to Kane's law, the structure defines power, and those who benefit from the current structure will resist changes that threaten their authority or status. Middle management, in particular, may resist innovations that decentralize control, such as Agile or lean methodologies. Example: in an organization with strong middle management, attempts to decentralize decision-making can be met with resistance. Middle managers may feel their roles are being diminished, leading to covert or overt opposition to innovation efforts. Change initiatives need to anticipate and manage these power dynamics by clearly defining new roles or creating buy-in from these stakeholders. 3. Innovation depends on structural flexibility. Innovation thrives in environments where decision-making is decentralized and teams are empowered to experiment and take risks. A rigid organizational structure stifles creativity because it funnels all decisions through a centralized authority, slowing down the process and reducing the organization's capacity to adapt to new challenges or opportunities. Kane's law implies that innovation requires a more flexible structure that supports fluid power dynamics and cross-functional collaboration. Example: startups often excel at innovation because their structures are more flexible, with flatter hierarchies and less rigid power dynamics. Conversely, large bureaucratic organizations struggle with innovation because their structures are designed to preserve control and minimize risk rather than empower fast decision-making. 4. Agile and decentralization efforts must begin with structural changes. Agile transformations often fail when organizations do not address the structural changes necessary to support decentralized decision-making and team autonomy. Kane's law suggests that to successfully implement Agile, organizations must flatten hierarchies, reduce middle management oversight, and create cross-functional teams with real decision-making authority. Example: companies that attempt to adopt Agile practices while maintaining traditional project management hierarchies, with project managers or middle managers controlling the work, often end up with a fragile Agile hybrid that delivers none of the true benefits of Agile. The key to success is restructuring so that power is shifted closer to the teams doing the work. 5. Resistance to change is structurally embedded. Resistance to change is not merely psychological. It is structurally embedded in the organization. According to Kane's law, organizational structures are designed to preserve power dynamics, meaning any attempt to innovate or implement change will face resistance from those who stand to lose influence. This explains why change initiatives that seem rational or beneficial often fail to gain traction, because they threaten the existing power structure. Example: a company trying to shift from a product-centric structure to a customer-centric one may face internal resistance from departments that lose control over decision-making, such as product development. Without structural change that aligns incentives and redistributes power, these initiatives will face friction, even if the overall change is beneficial to the company's long-term goals. 6. Leadership needs to focus on structural adaptability. Leadership in a modern, innovative organization requires more than strategic vision. It requires a deep understanding of how power is distributed within the structure, Leaders must actively manage the structural components that allow for flexibility, experimentation, and decentralized decision making. This is especially important in environments that require rapid adaptation to external changes, e.g., technological disruptions or competitive pressures. Example: companies like Google or Amazon, which are known for their innovation, have invested in creating flexible structures where power is distributed across teams and decisions can be made at various levels. Leaders in these organizations focus on maintaining this structural flexibility to support continuous innovation and prevent stagnation. 7. Cross-functional teams need structural support. Implication: cross-functional teams, which are essential for innovation, need a structure that supports their collaborative efforts. Kane's law suggests that if an organization's structure doesn't promote open communication and collaboration across departments, cross-functional teams will struggle. Structural barriers, such as siloed departments or conflicting reporting lines, must be dismantled to allow these teams to function effectively. Example: in large corporations where R&D, marketing, and sales teams operate in silos, attempts to form cross-functional innovation teams may fail because the underlying structure doesn't support collaboration. To succeed, these companies need to create integrated teams with clear authority and direct access to decision-making resources, without going through multiple layers of management. Implications for organizational change and innovation. Kane's law ultimately suggests that structural changes are the most critical drivers of an organization's ability to innovate and adapt. Without addressing how power is distributed and decisions are made, no amount of vision, talent, or culture building will lead to sustained transformation. Structural reform is foundational to lasting organizational change. Without addressing structure, cultural change or system-level improvements will remain superficial. Power dynamics are a central obstacle to change. For innovation to thrive, organizations must deal with the resistance from those who benefit from the current power distribution. Flexibility in structure leads to innovation. Flat, decentralized structures empower teams to make decisions quickly, experiment, and adapt, which is critical for fostering a culture of innovation. Leadership must manage structure, not just vision. Effective leaders focus on creating adaptable structures that align with the organization's goals for change and innovation. This is the last post for 2024 schedule for New Year's Eve. I'm going to take an extended break from blogging and intend to return in the first quarter of next year. Until then, I wish you all the best for 2025.